Ladies and gentlemen, and this is Path of Exile review, sponsored by Tibet, trademark by the channel SsethTzeentach. Why did I choose this specific video from this channel? Because it says sponsored by Tibet. Of course I chose this. I don't know what this game is going to be. Apparently it's some kind of a game, the best free-to-play Chinese gold farming simulator of our time. Seth, I reacted one video about Morrowind, Elder Scrolls, already my favorite topic from this channel. It was fucking awesome. People are saying that this is one of the legends when it comes to talking about games and reviews of them in a funny way, at least, like how Internet Historian and Russian Badge and all they do. So obviously this is going to be fun. I love games and I love things like this. Remember, if you like my reaction, don't forget to like and subscribe. Check out the reaction. There's a link in the description. Check out the end cards and yeah, let's watch it.
Hey people, Seth here. Let me tell you about a game I've played on and off for years, Path of Exile. Path of Exile is a free-to-play Diablo clone action RPG, and much more of a spiritual successor to Diablo 2 than free could ever be. It's made by Grinding Gear Games, a Chinese Skinner box company operating in New Zealand, a lesser-known colony of mainland China. It is, in the spirit of Diablo clones, a huge grind fest for items and money, but there's layers of complexity to keep you interested. For a start, all your skills come from gems, which come in two forms, active and support. Active gems do stuff. Support gems modify the stuff they do. These need to be socketed into items to do stuff, and linked if you want the support gems to actually affect the active gems. This leads to some creative and retarded combos. Cast on Death is a perfectly valid way to play, and don't let anyone else tell you otherwise. There's multiple characters to play, with their own backstory to how they ended up on the Path of Exile. Trademark copyright. Basically, everyone who does bad shit in Oriath gets sent to Rayclast, where they'll probably die in exile. The Templar questions.
I remember playing long ago. AAA. I don't know what that name was. It was an online multiplayer game. It was a Chinese game in a way, but it was fun as I remember it. I don't know. Me and my friends just stumbled upon it and we were just playing it. Apparently, it was fun. All the different builds of mages and archers, and there was lots of different layers and things. It was a good game in the end. So when I see a Chinese game, I don't see that as something as a funny joke or something, because I do remember playing a game. Even this is probably a biased view because I played that game and I liked it. I don't know how good Chinese online games are. I don't know. Some animation I saw in this kind of felt similar, so I don't know if maybe it's from the same people.
His faith. The witch had her house burnt, so she fried some boomers' kids, and the marauder didn't meet diversity quotas. Most of the classes have good reasons for being shipped off to Rayclast. My favorite has to be the duelist, because his entire reason for being here is literally, some nobleman talked shit to me, so I fucking killed him. What a guy. You can see where the inspiration came from for all the different settings. Rayclast is loosely based on New Zealand. The forests are filled with koalas who want to tear your skin off, and the beaches are filled with meth heads who want to stab you for your wallet. Your skills mix with your gear, and these in turn are influenced by your passive skill tree, which is fucking massive. Just look at this shit. Every class starts in a different spot in the tree, but all the passives are the same. Classes get to choose unique passives.
Wait a minute, isn't this similar to Assassin's Creed's Valhalla latest one? I hated this kind of thing.
Later on, this might sound very complex at first, and then you'll realize that nothing fucking matters except more life and damage. I recommend the first time you play to just do your own thing and experiment. Then, once you hit a brick wall and can't progress any further, look up one of the most meta builds for the current patch and brainlessly steamroll through the content. It's a learning experience, and there's a lot to do. Finishing the main arc of a story is just the start of endgame, where you will autistically tweak out your characters with more and more ridiculous setups until you burn out and stop playing until the next league. The classic life cycle of most Diablo clones. Or, in the case of one of my friends, finish Act 3 and tell me that the game's too short, because he missed the exit leading to the other 7 acts. When asked about his build, he said, "What do you mean linking gems? I've just been using Heavy Strike. Path of Exile has a bit of a learning curve, and it's not for brainlets. But as long as you come from a civilization that's discovered fire and has some frontal lobe development, you'll be okay. Each league puts a new spin on the game mode, giving you new ways to grind, and you can choose to either play a softcore or hardcore. Hardcore players
I don't know. It's it's one of the things that I guess scientists need to study about our psychology. Basically, that things like grinding and sense of achievement is really important to us. That's why lots of multiplayer games have grinding element to it. Obviously, they have grinding element to it to make money, because lots of people are kind of, have a very short attention span, which is kind of opposite of that, right? The people who actually wants to just grind and achieve shit and feel good about it, they just want to have certain goals without actually putting that much effort to it. And that's where these developers make money, because of the, microtransaction and shit. But yeah, majority of people, grinding for small shit here and there to achieve something, people feel good, even though it's just a stupid game in the end. And most games, people just grinds to, get best equipment, best weapon, best build. But as soon as they have everything perfect like they wanted, they're like, the game is boring now. Because the fun was the building of the character. But once you build the character, now you need some story type of shit, which is you're not going to get from things like this. So then you're like, this is boring.
Players are, of course, the vegans of Path of Exile, and we all know there's no such thing as a quiet vegan. If you interact with a Path of Exile player, they'll either tell you that they also play and enjoy the game, or they'll start screaming incoherently that they only play hardcore, solo self-found, and that they desynced for 1 millisecond yesterday and lost their character for the 3rd time this week. As a free-to-play game, Path of Exile servers sometimes aren't the best, and you can rubber band or desync. This isn't a problem for a regular human being. Hardcore players will, however, pathologically blame everyone but themselves for dying and demand a server rollback each time it happens. This pathological behavior extends into their private life, as many of them have, unfortunately, lost custody of a kids. Siphoning alimony payments into microtransactions ensures that their spouses receive minimal support.
The passive aggressiveness in this video is just fucking great.
Their children may have mandatory visitation days, but they universally hate it. One child I talked to, Timothy, was brutally beaten with a bamboo stick after he picked evasion over a health node on the passive tree. And you know what? He got off easy. But the game is completely free. The only money you spend on it is on microtransactions, which don't directly influence gameplay. Even if you're not interested in cosmetics, you will, sooner or later, need practical shit like extra stash tabs and specialized tabs for holding currency items. Speaking of currency, that is the primary objective of this game, obtaining currency. Unlike fiat banking systems in modern countries, the primitive people of Rayclast trade items for rocks of different colors. You can smash these rocks in your equipment, denting and changing them in the process. An exalted orb is one of the most valuable rocks, and many players haven't even found one. Chaos orbs are far more common rocks, but appropriately rare enough that they're the gold standard for trading. The main point of Path of Exile isn't the creative builds, the metagame, or the challenge of getting to max level. It's trading. I sit here all day, plugged into PoeTrade, and I flip shit for hours and hours. I don't even leave my fucking hideout, which is beautiful. By the way, I'm so glad I picked Haku as my master. What other master lets you...
Yeah, I remember that game I was talking about. I used to do that shit too in that, open a store, put basically, when I'm not playing the game, just open the store, sell some high value shit with a ridiculous price, and basically just walk away. Keep the computer on for long enough time. When you come back, obviously people are bought it because some people are really desperate. They would pay 5 times more. And there you go. That was a stupid thing, but I don't know. I liked it. Like, fuck it, why not? Just let's keep the computer on when I do some other thing. I literally opened the shop, leave the computer on, and just walked away. I don't know. This was extremely long ago. I don't even remember what game was, or I vaguely remember things.
You place dead fish and rotting bodies on the shoreline. What other master allows you to block the entrance with shipwrecks and pointy sticks? None of them, except Haku. I'm hooked into every API. I've got that shit on live alerts. I've got PoeTrade on my phone so I can lowball people for prices on alt accounts. I try match users with known sex offender registries so I can blackmail them into selling their lore weave for cheap. I make prints of all my trades and fax them to children in Malaysia just to inspire them. I buy shit cheap and I sell it higher. Why? For what purpose? To see the numbers rise. At its heart, this is the real meaning of Path of Exile. It's a cutthroat world out there, more brutal than any corporate position, but less paid and with longer hours. Do you really think you've got what it takes? Being good isn't good enough. Not when you're competing with hundreds of Russian spam bots on auto-refresh. Sometimes you'll even take a holiday to the beach, but you won't be able to relax. You'll spend all your time there sending out hundreds of trade requests a minute. There is no...
Okay, what does Russian spy bots get by spamming games like this? I mean, is there an end goal here, or is it just trolling?
no sleep. There is no rest, just a 24/7 Beijing grind. You often do things so fast you forget who you even messaged. Did Delve into my anus want 2C or free C for that ring? Or was that little pump suck from a minute ago? And you don't want to embarrass yourself by asking. Just act cool. Put a chisel on the table so he knows you mean business. Don't worry, he'll be back. They always come back. Trading is a wild place, and you can also hang out on the global chat while you wait, which is a great and intelligent place to be. Currently, they're discussing if it's gay to suck your homie's dick.
Oh yeah, this is literally similar to that. That game had the global chat too. And there was something as a shout, right? I mean, it costed money, but if you type something like that, literally everyone who's playing the game would get that message.
Ironically, but there's one rival in my quest for capitalist domination: China. The Chinese conspiracy on Path of Exile is plain for all to see. They've grown so bold, they don't even bother hiding it. Chinese gold farmers running hundreds of bots threaten the stability of our economy. Global chat is often spammed with Chinamen with Chinese names like or asking you to go to dogfart.com to buy Exalt orbs and Chaos orbs for the low price of $2 or 1 cent a piece, respectively. Grinding Gear Games claims they do everything possible to stop gold farmers, but I can see through their lies like rice grains. GGG is a subsidiary of Tencent.
Rice grain. Come on, man. Really, how do you know they are Chinese though? I mean, I won't put past that, right? But yeah, I mean, it's just, your normal, spammers, scammers, things like that. You don't know if it's Chinese. Come on.
Which also owns Riot Games, and Tencent is owned by the Dalai Lama. Follow the paper trail, follow the money, and you'll find that GGG and the gold farmers are one and the same. Players will first buy currency from the Chinese orb cartel. The money is wired instantly by Western Union to the Dalai Lama, who pulls the kill switch and bans the player after several days. During those days of decadence and luxury, the player will get a taste for power, which is then cut off. Much like an addict, he craves for more exalted orbs, starts a new account, and tries to turn a new leaf, but we all know how it ends. But despite the strength of our enemies, we will trade on. That's what Path of Exile means to me. Or maybe it's my heritage speaking. I mean, we were expelled from over 200 MMOs after all. In all seriousness, Path of Exile is pretty amazing for a free-to-play product. If you like Diablo or any of its derivatives, you'll feel right at home with what I feel is a raw improvement over those old systems. However, keep in mind that Path of Exile started development centuries ago, and it's not very well optimized for your hard drive. So, if you can afford it, get an SSD and put Path of Exile on it instead. It should run like butter. The PvP arena is also really fun. Stun locking people never gets old. And remember—
oh my god, this is PvP arena and everything, even the fucking animation. This feels really similar to that one. I think it's from the same developers.
Remember to praise the all-holy toucan daily on global chat. A temporary chat ban is a small price to pay to see all men of the world united in worship. Very good game. It gets a high score. The score is arbitrary. As always, more content to come, so stay tuned. A warm thanks to the many members of the Merchants Guild who have been generously funding and bankrolling these videos. This one—
yeah, man, this channel is so good, man. He was really laying it thick on lots of people, like child custody and shit. Dalai Lama is the ultimate scammer. We knew it. It was him all along. Scamming all that money with gold chains and shit. Driving around in an Escalade. Alright, people, that was Path of Exile review, sponsored by Tibet. I love that light. By the channel Seth. How do you pronounce this channel? SsethTzeentach, is that it? I don't know. This is by the channel SsethTzeentach, I guess. If you like my Rick, don't forget to subscribe. Check out the Rick Sandy. There's a link in the description. Check out the cast for different places. Check out the end cards. And yeah, I'll see you next time.